Boys and girls, back at Into Motor in Warrington, and it's a sporty one, so I've got to get all stretched out for this one. You know what I'm like on sporty bikes, getting too old for it now. I still enjoy them, but anyway, let's just cut to it. I'll show you what I'm on. It's only the Lexmoto LXR 125. What do we think? It has been on my radar for a bit. I do like the look of these bikes. I've heard some very good things about them. I've heard a few mixed reviews as well, but you know, I prefer to make my own mind up by taking one out for a ride. Let's have a look around the bike, then we'll go for a test ride and I'll see exactly what it's like. But it's a sports bike. I need to get my stretches in because these always get me. Old person problems, I know, but if I'm gonna be over like that, I need to make sure I'm all limbered up and ready for it. I feel like an old man every time I sit on a sports bike. Let's just have a look round. Come on. Looks wise, yeah, I think it's quite a nice looking thing, isn't it? It looks as nice as all the others that are out there. But I know it's Lexmoto, and a lot of people will say, oh no, it's just a cheap whatever. They are cheap, but can you have the same amount of fun? They are good looking bikes. Yeah, I don't think you can complain too much about the looks of them. There's the money shot for us. I do like the colour scheme on this one. Quite subtle with a black with a little bit of gold on. We'll see what it sounds like when I start it up. Single rear disc at the back, twin disc brakes at the front. I've been told that these brakes are really, really impressive. I'll make my own mind up when we're out riding. Yeah, quite an evil looking face on it. And excuse the L plates, anybody not from the UK. 125cc bikes are where it's at as far as learner machines go. It looks bigger than a 125. Obviously the plastic fur in there hides the engine so you can't see it. Size wise, you put this next to a 600cc, a 400cc, it would look very similar. The plastic hides everything. Looking at these bars, they do have that sporty stance about them. They're not straight, they are very much angled towards you, so we'll see if that affects the wrists when I'm riding. Buttons wise, because this is a cheap bike, there's not a lot to speak of. You've just got your horn, your indicators, your hazard warning lights, your high and low beam and your flash. Fairly standard as far as that goes. On the other side, again, just very basic. You've got your engine start. We've got a light on and off switch, so you can switch them off. Not that I would ever advise anyone to do that, because you want to be seeing, always have them switched on. And then you've got your engine cut off. Digital speedo, you've still got your old school rev meter, which I think is quite a good look. You have got a very big speedo, that's good, nice and visible. We've got your total miles, we've got a fuel gauge and gear indicator, that's quite handy to have as well. I do love that on the 125s. I do like that rear light as well, I think it's styled really nicely, I like the way that flares out. You do have a rear seat as well, fairly big for a sports bike actually, for a rear passenger. And we've got our matching pegs for the rear passenger, should you want to take one. Just a side stand, no centre stand, but again that's fairly typical I think of sports bikes. This bike is a used example, albeit it's a 2023 bike, it is used. It's got a little over 2,000 miles on, but looking around it, paint wise, really good. It's a nice looking machine. I can't find any marks, scratches or anything like that on the paintwork, so it looks as new. Let's see if it's any good to ride. I am interested to see if it is any good and if I would recommend one, so let's just go for a ride and find out. Before I do go for a ride, if you like this kind of review, if you want to see new bikes, used bikes, smaller capacity bikes, I do anything from 50cc to as big as you like. Now, if you're interested in that kind of review, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. It does help the channel grow. It does really help, you know what I mean. Press the button. Let's just go for a ride and see what it's like. You are sat in the bike, you're not sat on the bike, you're sat in the bike. I can feel the back of the seat at my lower back. My balls are proper squeezed against the tank, so you are kind of wedged in the middle of it. Now bear in mind, well, actually I would like to say I'm a very muscular build, but I know that's not true. I'm carrying a few extra pounds or stones. However, I can fit in it, but it's a tight squeeze, so bear that in mind depending on your build size, everything else. I am bent forward on this bike. It is a sports bike position. It's not really brutal like some of the bigger sports bikes, but you are leant forward, you are a bit on the wrists, so we'll see how we fare while we're riding. Whilst the suspension is coping very well, my twig and giggleberries are being pummeled by the tank. So yeah, I wouldn't advise taking this on bumpy roads. You're going to be battered and bruised in your sausage area. At low speed it is quite easy to manoeuvre. I'm not finding any issues with that, to be fair, because whilst it is a sports bike and it looks quite big in comparison to other sports bikes, because it's only got the 125 engine, it is quite light and manoeuvrable, so that's decent. Hello, cheeky. Oh, now that has actually surprised me. The performance then, just going through the gears up to 4th gear, is, I would say, better than nippy. I would say this is at the top end of 125s that I've been on. It does feel to be quite responsive on the throttle. It does pick up speed nicely, and you do feel the burst of acceleration as well, which quite often with 125s you don't. The power delivery can be nice and smooth. You do notice the speed picking up. It's not a 500cc plus bike, you know, it is a 125, so you've got to be realistic with your expectations. But for a 125 and comparing it with other bikes of a similar size, I would say this is at the higher end of the scale as far as performance. Yeah, that's pretty good. I do like the sound of the exhaust when you wind it on a little bit and you pick the speed up. Changing gears, the sound that it makes is actually quite nice. The fun factor for me when you've got a bike like this, whilst you're not going to be doing earth breaking or earth shattering speeds, you are getting a nice noise out of it when you pick the speed up. And it does go through the gears very well, I've got to say. The throttle response is nice, the gear changes, the clutch, it all feels very much like a brand new motorcycle. So as far as that goes, mechanically speaking, this is a really nice motorcycle to ride. And the more I'm getting used to the seating position, the back bent forward, it's only a touch, so it's not something that actually is making me feel uncomfortable, which can happen quite often with sports bikes. With my frame, it actually feels like a nice position to be in. Did I just say that about something that looks sporty? Oh my god. So far, quite an enjoyable bike. Quite enjoyable. Let's try a little bit of a sneak through here. yeah, alright for a bit of filtering. It's quite a slim bike, as a lot of sports bikes are, and because of where the mirrors are, they're not sticking out wide. Actually, the widest point are your bars, not your mirrors. So that's good as far as filtering goes, because you're only as wide as where your hands are. Yeah, very nice through the gears. As I've said, it's actually quite a nice bike to ride this. I'm pleasantly surprised. Get the speed up to 40 when that opens up, and we'll see what it's like. So we have got 6 gears, and as you know, 125s, very fuel efficient. This, I'm sure, will be as fuel efficient as other 125s. As you would expect, really, for a bike going around the corners, because it is sporty by nature. These sweeping bends are actually a pleasure to ride around. I do like the scream of the exhaust. You're constantly going through the gears, and you can have a lot of fun going through your gears and thrashing the bike, obviously within legal speed limits. I'm not encouraging any craziness, but you can have a lot of fun. It's cold, I'm getting a face full of cold air while I'm doing this review for you, so you know, I am suffering for your viewing pleasure. So make sure you hit the subscribe button and make my suffering worth it. The channel is growing quite nicely. Thank you to new and old subscribers. One day, who knows what the future may bring, but at the minute the channel is growing quite nicely. So thank you all to the new subscribers and to the old ones for sticking by me. And if you wouldn't mind sharing the video or telling your friends about it if they're into motorbikes, the more the merrier. And I quite enjoy interacting with everyone as well. So if you've got a comment on this bike or any of the bikes in my videos, then drop us a comment, because I do enjoy the interaction. Even if you're telling me how crap the bike is or something I've said wrong, I don't care. It's just nice to interact with other bikers. And also, every day's a school day, isn't it? So if you're telling me about something about the bike, whether I've either misquoted something, or if you just want to share your experience of a bike yourself, owning a bike or thinking about buying a bike, or you know, you just want to have a chat, I'm quite happy. Join the party, let me know. Brum, 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 brum. The problem I've always had with sports bikes is because you're in that race ready position and you are bent over the tank a little bit, you are kind of always looking to go that little bit quicker. And that's what I'm finding on this. The beauty with this, because it is a smaller capacity engine, you are kind of always looking for the overtake and to go a little bit quicker. But because the bike isn't capable of going ridiculous speeds, it feels safer. It certainly feels safer than the bigger bikes that I've been on in this position, because with those bigger bikes I always find myself going faster than I'm capable of, whereas with this it's just about right. Actually, I'm legal, don't be like getting all carried away with yourselves, but I'm finding that I'm going to my capabilities whilst thrashing it, if you know what I mean. For somebody new to motorbikes and they like the sports bikes or the look of sports bikes, I would say that this bike would be ideal for a learner, because it's not as brutal as some are, as far as seating position goes, so I do think you could sit on this bike for a while without suffering badly with your back, and I like that because some sports bikes can be quite painful. I am leant forward, so it is a bit wrist heavy if I'm honest, but that's just typical of any sports bike, and it's no worse than any other sports bike I've been on. As much as I am wedged in the seat as well, I'm finding it a very comfortable place to be. I thought I was going to get bruised and battered around my plums. That was from the initial cobbles coming out of Into Moto, but the more I've ridden this bike, I've not really felt it at all. I've not felt the battering in the plums I thought I was going to, which is a bonus. So I have enjoyed this bike. It is for sale with these guys at Into Moto, who've kindly let me take it out today. And yeah, if you're interested, just follow the link in the description. Pleasantly surprised. I hope the relationship with Into Moto carries on, because yeah, great bunch in there, and I'm really enjoying the selection of bikes at the minute. Loads of different ones for me to play on. So thanks for watching. Hit that subscribe button. Bye for now.